Mm. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our community in exploration and celebration. My name's Athena, and I will be helping lead this portion of our Sunday service today. For those curious, Sanctuary Church is a 508c1a faith-based organization. Our faith in sacred mushrooms stems from prehistorical use by our ancestors and personal experiences of our modern members. Psilocybin mushrooms are one of the greatest sacraments that nature offers, raising our awareness so that we can access a direct connection to the source of life. It is our sincere belief that the consumption of psilocybin-containing mushrooms is a communion, which brings us closer to what is commonly called God. We understand this concept as pure consciousness, which permeates all being. This pure consciousness is, we believe, the ineffable source of creation and the origin of health and well-being. Our vision and mission at Psanctuary is to live in a world with supportive and joyful communities, empowered to discover our own divinity with sacred mushrooms and each other. We are bringing people together for healing and connection to divine revelation through communion with sacred mushrooms. We ask that you mute your mics if you're not muted already. The 30-minute service portion of our gathering is being recorded and will be posted on YouTube for community viewing. We'll begin with a short guided meditation, followed by 2 readings to facilitate our journal prompt and the discussion following service. Prior to the 90-minute discussion, we'll invite one of our community leaders to share some sanctuary announcements, updates, and FAQs. We invite you now to find a comfortable space where you can settle in and be present as we begin our service. I'd like to invite Julie to lead us in a short meditation this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I invite you to join me in a meditation going into the sacred silence. I invite you to find a comfortable position and gently close your eyes. And take a moment to settle in to the stillness around you. And breathe deeply for a few breaths. As you feel the weight of your body supported by the surface beneath you. And now bring your attention to the sounds that surround you. And notice the various sounds that arise both near and far. Allow the sounds to come and go like ripples in a vast ocean. Allow them to wash over you. Observe how each sound emerges from silence, dances for a moment, and then stops. And maybe it immediately begins again. And maybe it doesn't. And now, as you listen to the sounds, let your awareness expand into the silence that envelopes them. Embrace the stillness that holds the sounds. allowing it to permeate your being. Soak your attention into the stillness and the silence of your space. Disregarding the sounds now. It's the stillness that we are attending to. Notice how the silence is not an absence of sound, but a presence in itself, rich with tranquility and depth. Feel the sacredness of the silence and stillness, the nourishing power it holds. It is within the sacred silence that you can access a deeper connection with your inner self, your essence. It is a space where thoughts can settle and the mind can find serenity. It can be a refuge during stressful times. Feel the resonance within your being, the deep peace that arises from being fully present in this moment. Allow yourself to merge with the sacred silence, embracing the timeless essence of your true nature. When you're ready, you can come back into the room and gently stretch and open your eyes and bring the stillness and harmony of this meditation with you into the world. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Julie. Before we move into our readings, and while we are still in this mindful, centered space, I invite us all to place our hands on our heart as we take a few moments to send loving intention to our sacrament and to all who cultivate or consume these sacred mushrooms. Without these gifts of our Creator and the communion of our members, this community would not exist. The healing brought on by our sacrament is not limited to the times when we consume the mushroom, but extends into all aspects of our lives and spreads like the mycelium around our world. It is through intention and attention that we call forth the healing power of the mushroom and the community that we have formed around it. Let us use our ever-expanding awareness to bring greater peace, healing to our world. Let us radiate gratitude from our hearts to our Creator, to our community, and to those who cultivate our sacrament. For these gifts impart healing to those who commune with love and sincerity. In cultivating and consuming this sacrament, we become aware of the oneness of life, the knowing that we live in all things and that all things live in us. Let us apply this understanding to all of our relationships and aid us in our journey as members of the human family. Thank you, everyone. Our rotating text today was selected by our founding minister, Eric Osborne, and comes from the book Awakening the Luminous Mind. And I invite Margot to help read this passage aloud. Margot, are you with us?
I can read it, Athena. There's a couple of typos in there as well that I can correct in process of reading, but she's not here. As humans, we are storytellers. The pain mind involves the imagination of the ego. The story that is woven of thoughts and images may appear intelligent, but fail to recognize the truth of the fundamental separation from our essential nature. Our stories can delight and amuse as well as shock and terrify us. But we are not our stories. And no matter how smart or sophisticated the storyteller is, the pain mind cannot liberate us from the suffering we experience. What does liberate suffering? The moment you have some glimpse that you are bigger than what you are thinking or feeling is a healing moment. In such a moment, the false sense of the I begins to lose its grip. Through meditation, noticing this dissolution of the solid self is encouraged by drawing your attention to the sense of being itself, rather than to a given momentary reaction. The moment the false sense of I starts to dissipate, you feel different. If you trust in the space that opens, you can discover a deeper support than the reactivity of your ego. Deeper support is your inner refuge, and this is your protection. Our false self thinks, this is not okay. That person has hurt me so much. This is not acceptable. I have to push back. I have to be strategic. I need the upper hand. Who is that me? We want a very clear sense of victim and victor, but that view, that ego, those voices are what we need protection from, because from this we suffer. How do you connect with what is larger than I? By having a conversation with that I. You don't try to improve it or destroy it or ignore it either. You start by simply feeling what you're feeling. The very moment in which you feel awkwardness, confusion, irritation, or a reaction of any kind is an opportunity to discover that you are not that reaction. To take full advantage of the challenges in our life so that they become the doorways to healing and positive developments, we need to discover where to look. Go to stillness, go to spaciousness, go to silence. From these places, allow your reaction. You allow it by not resisting, talking back, or rejecting it in any way. And at the same time, you are not allowing it to affect your stillness, your silence, or your spaciousness. If you examine your own experience, you will often find that because of fear, you do not allow pain to be as simple as it is in the moment. And because we fear pain and vulnerability, we try to manage it, to handle it. And while it may seem reassuring to have some aspect of ourselves in charge of a given situation, the smart ego is not the one who will find release from that false identity and find the end to suffering. You think that the smart voice is the solution. This is a mistaken belief. Because it is so easy to believe in the false ego, it is all the more important to find inner refuge in stillness, silence, and spaciousness.
Thank you, Eric. Please take out your journals and pens. for a 5-minute reflection utilizing the following prompts. Do you have any experience in finding refuge in stillness, silence, and spaciousness? How does this place offer different solutions than the place of reactivity? How might we remind ourselves to respond from stillness, silence, and spaciousness rather than reactiveness? We will have the opportunity to further explore what we journal during our discussion following the service, and I'll set my timer for 5 minutes. We have about a minute remaining. Please wrap up your thoughts as we move into the next portion of our service together. The paradoxical nature of life and its mysteries are best experienced through the ineffable space we find in our communion with the mushroom. For more than 2,000 years, the Tao Te Ching has provided guidance and instruction for exploring the paradox of existence. It is for this reason that we employ the Tao Te Ching as our primary sacred text and invite all to study it further as you delve deeper into the mystery of life. I'd like to invite Emil to help us with our next reading.
Tao Te Ching, chapter 61. A great country is like the lowland toward which all streams flow. It is the reservoir of all under heaven, the feminine of the world. The feminine always conquers the masculine by her quietness, by lowering herself through her quietness. Hence, if a great country can lower itself before a small country, it will win over the small country. And if a small country can lower itself before a great country, it will win over the great country. The one wins by stooping, the other by remaining low. What a great country wants is simply to embrace more people, and what a small country wants is simply to come to serve its patron. Thus each gets what it wants, but it behooves a great country to lower itself.
Thank you, Emil. All right, we'll begin closing out our service with some announcements.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to announce this week's virtual circles. These are now open to non-members for suggested $5 donation and open for free for all official members. These virtual workshops this week include Monday. All of the times I'm going to say are in Eastern time. So Monday at 7:30 Eastern, we have compassionate conflict resolution. Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, internal family systems. Thursday at 7:30, psilocybin and sobriety. Saturday at 10:30, Sanctuary Book Club. And you can find the Zoom links and register on the events calendar on sanctuary.org. And this Wednesday, in person, Courtney Rose will be leading a women's vision boarding circle at the Clifton Universalist Unitarian Church in Louisville, Kentucky. Fresh into the new year and heading into the full moon time, we have this powerful opportunity to consciously set the stage for creation for our 2024 year. During this vision boarding workshop, we'll come together with magazines, scissors, and glue, sharing encouraging energy over warm goji berry moon milk and realign with what feels really good for us in the year to come. Please register via the events calendar on sanctuary.org. And that is all for today.
Thank you, Amy. Membership. If you're not yet a member and are interested in joining our community of over 400 official members, you may begin the process by visiting sanctuary.org. Like the mycelial network we seek to emulate, Sanctuary relies on the support and resources of our community while giving back health and wholeness to the same. We seek to create a nationwide and eventually global community that contributes to the healing of humanity. Your support is incredibly valuable as we grow and even after we are established. Becoming a member gives you access to our private official member chat server via the Discord app, minister ordination programs, our network of sacrament cultivators, sacrament services facilitated by our friends and family and community ministers, discounted community offerings, and so much more. I'd now like to invite Stephen to announce our new members this week.
Good morning, everyone. We have 5 new members to announce this week. We have Jeff from Arizona, Bill from Arizona, Gustav from Maine, Sarah from Maine, and Kristen from Florida. So welcome, everyone.
Well, thank you, Stephen. All right, State of Sanctuary, committee updates and FAQs. Welcome Amy back.
Thank you. And I would like to share my screen. Yeah, good. Okay, So I'm Amy Samuelson. I'm the treasurer for Psanctuary, if you guys didn't know that. And I will say, when I was working on my accounting degree many, many years ago, I didn't expect that I would be using my accounting skills for a mushroom church. Yay! All right, so we are going to, from this point forward, we're going to post the quarterly financials out in your member portal. So people that are interested in looking at that, that will be available to look whenever you feel like it. So in order to do that, you would log into your member portal and then go into your official member benefits. And from there, you will find this section called Community Meetings and Updates. And we've attached down here the quarterly financial reporting. So if you click on that, it'll pop up. And then I have also a file attached here. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And I'm hoping that you guys will be able to see it. Hang on a sec. All right, can you see this? All right, good. All right, so I wanted to show you kind of a comparison this year over last year. This is our balance sheet, our statement of activity. I'm sorry, not our balance sheet. This is our balance sheet over here. Our income statement. So you can see in 2022, we actually ended the year at a loss. And in 2023, we had net revenue of $55,000. We have 73,000 came in from donations and fundraising, and that includes membership dues. Fee for revenue, that is, I'll show you on another slide. That's all of the, anytime you're paying extra for something. And then the cost of programs and services, general administrative expense, and net revenue. So that's where we stand as of the end of 2023. And our balance sheet, again, we were at a loss last year. We had to accrue some stuff to pay out in 2023. So that's why we see that liability there. We were able to pay that down and come out with about all of our assets are in cash. So we currently have 54,000 in cash. And that may sound like, well, why don't we go spend that? But we want to make sure that we're solvent, we can pay our bills. So for now, we're not going to go out and spend a bunch, but I wanted to share kind of the breakout of where the money came from this year and where it was spent. So you can see here, member dues. One of the things I wanted to zone in on is this percentage, right? So of our revenue, the amount that's made of donations and fundraising is 39%, fee for service revenue 61%. What we would like to eventually see is that we have, and this is why I think we all want to grow. We love all of ourselves as we are. And so I don't want to always be looking for the future. We should stop and celebrate where we are, all of us coming together today. We have 101 people on here today, yay. So we would like to be able to reach more people and make things more accessible. And so we would like to kind of increase the undesignated donations. So folks that just want to give because they see what an impact we're making. And then also increase membership so that we could have a lot more coming out of this donations and fundraising and be able to reduce the cost and prices for the fee for service revenue. So to be able to allow for more people to gain access to the minister programs and so forth. We saw a shift from last year to this year in this fee for service. Last year, the percentage was 67%, and donations and membership and so forth was 33%. So we are going in the right direction. One of the shifts that we saw was when we first created the church, it was more about a retreat model. And so we would have retreats or campouts to be able to serve folks, be able to share the space with each other and have some sacrament experiences. But we weren't able to reach very many people, and it was becoming very top down. So we wanted to instead share the knowledge. And what I love about these cohorts is it's not Eric teaching everybody everything, it's us all teaching each other everything, but using the background and experience that Eric and the team has from, I think, holding space for over 3,000 times in Jamaica. So this ceremony part that was 6,000 this year, that was 34,000 last year. So we're really reducing that. We're hoping to have more of these celebrations where it's very, very cost effective for all of us to come together, have more retreats as our ministers are getting trained where we can share space for each other, but to try to keep that access available by all of us learning together and then sharing space together. So cost of programs, there was money to develop the ministry programs and execute them. More than integration as our coaching piece, we haven't really put a ton of marketing or effort towards that. But that's available if anybody does want to have one-on-one coaching. And then we do have discounts that we give. And also we've been able to give out over here, this designated donations of 1,000. We were able to put some money aside for the sacrament gifting program and the cultivation. And we actually put more money than that. And we also gave one free sacrament ceremony. And also, I can't remember how many minister programs we've given out, but with each cohort, we're offering one free, like it's a, put names in a hat and pull out one name of, if you cannot afford the minister program, please go ahead and say that you're looking for a discount of some sort, and we'll see what we can do. What's that?
Lottery scholarship.
Lottery, thank you, lottery. Because everything we're doing, it's interesting. Jason will remind us, like, we keep wanting to say, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that, let's do that. But all that, everything we do requires a lot of back end operations and support. We have $11,000 we spent last year on software. We have a whole bunch of different apps that come together to create this process or this experience. And they all have to connect, and sometimes things happen on the back end that don't work too great. So please bear with us because it's a small team. And also, I think next week, Courtney's going to talk about volunteering. So if anybody wants to get involved more, we could definitely use the help. I would love to have better metrics here on kind of who's where and numbers so we can kind of understand things. I did want to mention, it's kind of neat to see the progression. At the end of 2021, we had 51 members. At the end of 2022, we had 167. And at the end of 2023, we had 411. So that's really, really great. We do lose members though, more often than we want to. And that's a lot of times because people don't feel that they have the access. And so that's another focus that we have this year, is getting more people like Yeshua in Maine. I know that Christina out in Washington, myself in Columbus, we'd like to grow communities that are physically based like everybody has in Louisville, where we can all get together in person. Zoom is wonderful, but it can only go so far. With that, I would say, if you have questions, please send to info@psanctuary.org. And those will get most likely filtered to me, but I don't want to have them sent to me and I'll miss them. I might. The other thing is, we are going to start doing directors' weekly office hours starting February 5th, where you can call in and just chit chat and ask questions. We don't want it to be like we're a secret board that doesn't tell anybody anything. If we haven't, it's been because we're very busy trying to make this really work well for everyone. So anyway, with that, I think I will hand it back to Athena. And I hope that was helpful for everybody to see.
It was. Thank you so much.
Good job, Amy.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'll begin closing out our service, recognizing we've come together with intentions of service to the land and all its inhabitants. It is in our hearts to go forth into the world with the collective consciousness. We encourage you to stay for continued fellowship and conversation around our readings today. And for those unable to stay, we thank you for being with us and wish you a great week ahead. As we further our conversation, please remember that all perspectives are welcome. as we search for the spiritual truth that unites us all. Please remember that we are not a medical or therapeutic organization. Statements made by the moderator or members of Psanctuary are their own. We are here discovering and exploring along with you. Now, I'd like to invite, let me